Hello everybody, this is Starman and welcome back to Let's Play Quest for Glory 4, Shadows of Darkness, The Thief Path. Well, I'm here at the place where the Staff of Arana...
The curved staff has a very organic look to it. Its curve seems...
And I think I did look at that before, but for those who haven't guessed, this is the Staff of Arana, or Reina, depending on which actor is saying her name, but anyway... We will go ahead and move on.
Still you remain. It is a wonder you have managed to live so long.
I've only been here 2 days.
What is it?
And how about self?
Tell the Burgermeister about your adventures in Shapir.
So, you are the son of a sultan. Your stories are better than 1001 Nights.
And that's about Dr. Cranium.
Dr. Cranium is an idiot and a madman. If you are wise, you will stay away from him.
And the old man?
Nikolai is an old man and easily confused. His wife has been missing for years now. He cannot face the fact that she is gone.
And I think we've encountered most of this already.
It used to be that the only monsters around here were the occasional wyverns. Now there are many dangerous things in the valley. It is safe only within the town gates. This town... What? What?
You tell the Burgermeister what you're trying to do in Mordavia.
You are a good talker, I'll grant you that. If you do half the things they say you will do, then I'll be very surprised.
And rumors.
I have been hearing all sorts of stories about you lately. No one is certain what to make of you. Yet. Why are you always so curious about it?
Yep.
The problem with adventure... More sightseeing? To the east is the... However, Mordavia has been... I do not... Irana was a powerful magic user who was rumored to have come from somewhere near Mordavia. Her garden is supposed to be magical and keep anyone who stays there safe from harm. Irana died here many years ago. Her staff in the center of town stands as her memorial. It is supposed to protect the town from evil and to have other magic besides. It is bad luck to speak of her death. If you must know, she died in that cave you say you came from. I'm not a superstitious man, but I will not talk more about the subject.
All right. So, say goodbye?
Be careful out in the forest. It can be very dangerous there.
Don't I know it?
Try to avoid getting into trouble. I would not like to have you in my jail, after all.
Okay, let's see if we get any news out of Olga.
Ah, well now, what news do you have for me? So, you haven't been...
Yeah.
Tell Olga about what you've been doing in Mordavia.
And be sure and keep me informed.
And we ask our husband.
Boris came back to visit me. We had a lot to talk about. He says he'll come back again after work. It was nice to see him. Seemed like old times. This isn't such a bad place to settle down, you know.
Yeah, I think that's probably the last thing we're going to get out of her, but she and Boris have reconciled. Which doesn't give us anything but an honor boost, which is not all that useful to us, but still nice.
There's my husband.
Oh, and we should go and get our free meal for the day.
You straighten out... It's a gun.
Ah, so you are back. This inn used to do a steady business before this swamp prevented traders and tourists from coming. Now we mostly make our money off of food and drink.
And the castle?
The castle was once that of the boyar. Now we do not know who lives there. Besides the ones that come in here in the evening, there are quite a few others. You probably have met the shopkeeper, the gravedigger, and the burgomeister. And then there's Nikolai, and that crazy Dr. Cranium.
All right.
He is a harmless old man who wanders around looking for his dead wife. It must be a shame to grow old all alone. Dr. Cranium came to Mordavia several years before the swamp closed off the pass. No one knows much about him, but no one trusts him. It is rumored that he conducts strange experiments.
And that rumor, unlike most of them, is actually true.
The shopkeeper knows everything that goes on in town. She also makes a delicious avocado and garlic sandwich, which she sells as rations. The burgomeister keeps to himself and lives in his office. The gravedigger is a strange one, though he is a good carver of tombstones and digger of graves.
All right, and...
I know little of the forest, for I seldom leave my inn. You should speak with the burgomeister.
yeah.
I am well.
You straight.
All right, well, with that done... we'll go ahead and head out.
The headstone carver stares at you and then goes back to work. You tell the gravedigger that Dr. Cranium has asked Igor to bring him some fluid.
Doctor asked Igor do strange things like dig up bodies. Igor bury bodies and Doctor make Igor dig them up again. Sometimes Doctor make Igor crazy.
I was going to ask him about the old man.
Nikolai walks around looking for Anna all the time. Anna missing many years now. Yuri, innkeeper. Bella, keep in. Little town humor there. Dmitri, bitter man. Dmitri's father, bitter man too. Grandfather, not bitter man. Grandfather, not marry grandmother. Olga into healthy food. Olga eat plenty fruit and berries. Olga nuts. You are what you eat. Business is dead. Little graveyard humor.
And rumors?
Igor not hear rumors. Igor not know mad monk start monastery. Igor not know bad things get people who try monastery door. Igor wonder if you will verify this rumor.
Well, we don't need to. But we are going to do a little bit of quick training.
You pick up 2 of the metal weights and put 1 in each of the baskets. Your legs are too stiff and sore to use this right now. After some...
And we'll go ahead and rest up.
After some... After some... There's only a certain amount of punishment your body can stand on any given day. Enough pain, enough gain for now. Try again tomorrow.
Alright, and that has taken up to 333, and our vitality is increased. And that also took up most of the day. So we'll go ahead and head on over to Dr. Cranium. Easy enough, and just out of curiosity's sake.
That didn't do anything useful.
Yeah, it won't let us pick the lock, or even try picking the lock.
Ah, you're just in time to witness a magnificent scientific experiment. I have managed to harness the very primal force of lightning at my beck and call. Now I shall use it to create life itself. Watch this.
Life itself!
That was not quite the experimental result I expected. But never mind that. It is merely a momentary setback in the annals of science. I shall readjust the magnetic electrical stimulation system and try again another day.
Alright, so go ahead and greet.
You say hello to the scientist.
It is good to see you again. I trust the Antwerps gave you no trouble?
And ask about, we can talk about ourselves.
You start to tell Dr. Cranium about yourself and your adventures, but he quickly interrupts.
But there is nothing so adventurous as pursuing a career in science. Did you know, for instance, that simple scientific principles can be applied to the creation of potions for healing and curing poison?
And we can talk about Spielberg.
You tell Dr. Cranium about your first adventures in the Spielberg Valley. He seems vaguely interested in your tales of the Baron and his children, but his eyes positively light up when you mention the Antwerp.
Ah, so you are the Spielberg hero. I went there on an Antwerp gathering expedition a few months ago. The people there are still talking about your adventures.
You continue by telling Dr. Cranium of your encounters with the eccentric wizard Erasmus, the deadly kobold magic user, and the ogress Baba Yaga.
Turned her into a frog? Oh, such poppycock. There is a perfectly straightforward scientific explanation for all of those events. There is no such thing as magic.
So go ahead and ask about Dr. Cranium.
Oh, I have been better. The failure of my MESS was a shocking experience, I can tell you.
So I'll ask about science.
Understanding and harnessing the power of nature is just one aspect of science. By observing and performing experiments based on the observations, the scientist increases our understanding of the world around us.
And we can now ask about
If you
stamina
want to
potion, healing potion.
Here you are, one freshly brewed healing drink. Sip it if you get hurt, and its beneficial vitamins and other ingredients will help your body to recover.
And ask about the poison.
Here you are.
Ask for an empty flask.
You ask Dr.
Of course.
And I think we skipped one that we haven't done before.
Experiments are the meat and drink of science. First, you must come up with a hypothesis based on your understanding of the scientific elements. Then perform an experiment to test the hypothesis. Afterwards, you have a pizza.
Actually, we have had this one before.
Pizza is a crucial... One should always...
I'll ask about Mordavia.
Oh, this is a sad, ignorant land where everyone seems to think more of magic than of science. Still, it is a good place for a scientist to work. There are many fascinating monsters to study, and I can get all the dead bodies I need.
And ask about more Antwerps.
Antwerps are a truly fascinating species. They reproduce by splitting into a number of tiny Antwerps, each with their own genetic code. They cannot split voluntarily, however. They only reproduce when cut or stabbed. My test Antwerps came from Spielberg Valley, where there was an Antwerp population explosion last spring.
Which means that all of our adventures have taken place since last spring. Amazing, huh?
I have come to the conclusion that lightning is electrical in nature, which would put it in the realm of fire. Unfortunately, there have been an increasing number of storms here lately, so I have been able to harness some of the lightning and store it for experimental use.
And life force?
I am convinced that the primal force of life is electrical in nature. Of course, it must also involve water for life, and pizza, without which life would be boring.
Ask about the old man.
My neighbor Nikolai is not actually as old as he now appears. He has been very unhappy since his wife's disappearance some 15 years ago. I can understand his disappointment. She never brought me back the berries I needed for an experiment.
Not the most sensitive or astute fellow, Dr. Cranium.
You say goodbye.
Oh, it is always... Perhaps I should wait a day or two before resuming my Frankie experiment. It is very important that the right person stay in charge here.
Alright. So that takes care of our daily chores, except for any random training we might want to do. But I think we have just enough time left for one little side quest. Actually, maybe several little side quests.
The wall is too smooth. You find...
Yeah, all it took was 2 good tries, and suddenly we were able to climb to the window of the monastery and climb in.
The chandeliers once provided light in this dark, somber room. Now they are crusted over with something you'd rather not investigate closely. They are now quite useless. This is a no longer used monastery. The furnishings are in poor condition, and the carpet and drapes are faded and threadbare. The symbols of the Dark One make this an uncomfortable place to be.
And you'll note
This is a no longer...
the order of the things here will be important later.
This amazingly lifelike sculpture looks like a cross between a baby troll and a hermit or dervish. It fits the description of a domovoi, except that it's totally dried out and unmoving.
Domovoi being a protector spirit of a home in Russian folklore.
This is a fairly attractive, in a Baroque way, display cabinet with a glass door. You deftly pick the cabinet's simple lock and take the healing potion you find inside.
You can also just break the cabinet open with your bare hands, but we're a thief. We're going to do the clever thing. Oh, and one clever thing you might miss here.
There's something dark in the alcove. Could it be at last the fabled black bird for which so many have been searching?
Well, it might.
You need to work more on your climbing. This wall is rather tricky.
Yeah, we were able to climb down it no problem. Getting up it is a bit tricky. But just took us a few tries. And once we're back down,
You give the blackbird a quick peck, then return it to your pack.
Blackbird. This sculpture of a black falcon brings back wonderful memories of your vacation in Razir. Wasn't there one in Spielberg too? And one in the Bazaar in Tarna? Too bad this is just a cheap plaster imitation. Where, you wonder, is the real blackbird? Well, in fact, we will get a chance to find the real Blackbird in the next game.
It's a six-tentacled, octopus-like creature. I guess you'd call it a hexapod. Unless you like cats, then you might call it a hexapus.
Well, luckily, we have some garlic for this thing to eat.
Hector the hexapod happily gorges itself on the garlic. Hector looks much less hungry and perhaps a little less dangerous now. There are some small scratches on the stone underneath this brass log holder.
Yeah, because there is, in fact, a secret passage.
There is a cold feeling down here that chills your bones and sets the hairs on the nape of your neck on end. There is a musty odor of mold and mildew mingling with the sickeningly sweet smell of decaying flesh. Welcome to your nightmare.
Yep. And, as you might guess, this is not exactly a safe place to be. In fact, I think it automatically saves the game when we get here.
Above the altar is the sign of the Dark One, surrounded by arcane letters. A notch next to the A makes you think that perhaps that is some sort of starting point for the letters.
Yeah. Avils being the name of the Dark One.
These bizarre creatures are only stone carvings, you hope. There is a huge book on the altar. The binding looks like stretched human skin, with letters and markings written in dried blood. The letters spell out Necrophilicon. What could that mean? Oh, that's it. Something like the Silmarillion for of the love of death. There's something very, very wrong and dangerous about this book.
Let's go pick it up.
The huge book on the altar looks fascinating. You could almost swear you saw it move. The title says Necrophilicon. Haven't you heard about this book somewhere?
Case and book closed. Maybe you should have judged this book by the cover. Anyway, the judgment seems to have gone against you. In fact, they threw the book at you. Okay, so picking up the book,
huge book.
Bad idea.
You've seen some pretty ridiculous things in your time, and that's certainly one. It's a really silly-looking statue and clearly of no value. It's also much too heavy to carry around with you.
And you'll remember what the chief thief said about
these bizarre...
touching something in the monastery and it...
You see a small statue that matches the description that the chief thief gave.
Well, gee.
You feel a funny tingling sensation, then a slimy one, as you reach out to touch the statue. This is not good.
Slug it out. Well, you have to admit that becoming a giant banana slug is one of the more unique situations in your adventuring career. It's also the last as you choke on your own slime.
Above there is a...
Thankfully, there is a way to pick the statue up safely.
You pick up the statue in the shopping bag, carefully avoiding any contact with your own flesh. The statue glows briefly as it slips into the bag, then subsides. The huge barrel is labeled Cask of Amontillado. This must be the fabled spirit that provided most of the income and fame of the monastic order here. It is rumored to provide strange and mystical visions to those who taste freely of its contents. The roll-top desk is spotted with dark and ominous stains. A number of barrels stacked and strewn about show that this room was used for storage, as well as unspeakable acts. The crack in the building looks like a serpent. It seems you aren't the only thing under stress down here.
Yeah, you think that might be a thief mark, but it isn't. So, go ahead and do a quick save again.
You do not have...
And we disarm the trap.
You rifle through the Mad Monk's desk and find the diary of Amontillado. Boy, was this guy wacko. Reading this makes your head hurt. However, it does give you some information about the Dark One rituals. It said something about the first ritual being placed within the Mad Monk's tombstone, there to be forever guarded by followers. The second ritual shall be placed in the Stone of Squids, and revealed only by the light of a dead child's soul. The next ritual shall be placed in the hollow of the hangman's tree, and guarded by the spirit of the dead which remains there. The blood ritual shall be concealed magically within the monastery, and only he who willingly seeks dark visions shall find it. The mouth ritual shall be placed in the great arch itself, under the Dark One's sign. And the heart ritual shall be given to someone named Gregor for safekeeping. Now there's another note on this page in another's handwriting. Gregor is missing in the forest and probably dead. Yet where is the heart ritual?
And if you're guessing we're going to have to find these rituals at some point, you're right.
You straighten out your... You rifle through the Mad Monk's... Except the next...
And we still have to go through the individual drawers.
You rifle through the... It said something about the next... Now there's... You rifle... It said the next... Mount... Now there's... You straighten out...
Well, I thought you could go through the other drawers.
You rifle through... It said the next... Mount... Now there's another... After some...
Right, well, nothing else for it, but
You tap
bottoms
the
up.
cask of Amontillado. This is the strongest stuff you've ever tasted, assuming that you're not an aficionado of dragon's breath. Bottoms up. Man, have you got a headache? Fortunately, the Dark One rising seems to have been just a vision, not the reality. Yet. A scroll has formed from the cask's wine droplets. You pick up the rolled paper on the floor. It has a symbol of a drop of blood at the top and the inscription, Ritual of Blood. You can't read any of the other writing on it.
Well, that's one ritual down. I'll go ahead and close the desk just to be safe. And that is almost everything that we can do inside the monastery. There is one other thing we'll have to do eventually, but we can come back and do that next time. But I think we'll go ahead and officially sneak out first. And it must be close to sunset if Igor is no longer here. But we will go ahead and close this chapter out, and next time we will continue our exploration of the city, such as it is, and we will see the chief thief about this statue, which I think he's going to be very eager to get his tentacles on. Well, maybe not tentacles, but appendages of some type. Anyway, see you next time.